Over the last 10 years, I've created multiple courses and coaching programs that have collectively made over $30 million in online revenue. And today, in this extended training, I'm going to be walking you through A to Z in a recording of a live training I did with my private clients, how to effectively create and launch your very own online course or coaching program. I'm going to be covering 3 key areas, starting with positioning and how you can stand out in your marketplace head and shoulders above your potential competition. Then pricing, ensuring that you can charge a premium price for your offering and remove any friction to your offer. And finishing up with part 3, actually creating your offer and your course ready for you to start landing customers, landing clients, and getting them huge results. So grab your notepad, grab a pen, buckle in for this in-depth training. All right, so we're going straight into the first session. Ready to take notes? We're going to go fast and furious. The first session, position yourself to win clients. Before we do anything else, before we talk about the offer, before we price it, before we build any kind of marketing funnel or make edits to the one that we've created for you, before we do any of that, we have to first figure out this piece here. Who do we want to serve? Who are we going after? This is so important because if we get this bit wrong, everything else is for nothing. And this is the problem that some people have, jumping to phase 2 before this is really dialed in. And I've got some good news for you. It's actually easier to get this dialed in than you might think. How many of you, in fact, I won't even ask because I think I know what the answer is, but many of us have been conditioned that when we do avatar research, that takes hours and hours and hours and hours of market research. And we're looking at data and we're looking at keywords and search volume and all this kind of stuff. Nope, we don't need to do any of that nonsense. We're wasting so much time with that. It's far easier, actually. I think you'll really enjoy it. So let's dive in. First things first, I want you to write this down and I want you to remember this. Some people think my market is saturated. A market is only saturated if you sound like everyone else, okay? Write that down. A market is only saturated if you sound like everyone else. Let that sink in for a minute. Truly, truly let that sink in for a minute. This is something that it's almost a way that we give ourselves permission to not take action. We give ourselves permission to not move forward because we're so sure we're going to fail. And one of the reasons we're so sure we're going to fail is because there's no room for you in your marketplace. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to be bold real quick. Type a number 2 in the chat if you've ever felt concerned that maybe there's no room for you in your industry. There's no room for you in your marketplace. Thank you for the honesty. I see you guys. Amy, Philip, Neil, Jay, Peter. I see you guys. Thank you for the honesty. I felt the same in the beginning, and it's only once you get a result, you can look back and you can go, oh, I was so daft for thinking that. And I have that hindsight now, because you only think it's saturated because you're assuming that you're going to plonk yourself into an industry where you just sound the same. So then why would someone choose you? Why would someone choose you over someone else who's already established in the industry and has a big brand and a big presence? Well, you're assuming that you sound the same. So you're being pinned up against, let's say, Tony Robbins. And you think, well, everyone's always going to choose Tony Robbins because of his big brand and this, that, and the other. But that's if you say the same stuff. If you sound and look and feel different, if you demonstrate what I call displayed understanding, which we'll get into today, if you can do that, you stand out. Guys, there are many of you on the line right now. I promise you, you will win clients over Tony Robbins just because your marketing messaging was better. I promise you that is the case, because I do it every day. I go and win clients from companies that are far bigger than ours. I've done it since I had no testimonials and no credit to my name. But it's because I understood how to craft this marketing message, and it all starts with understanding who you want to serve. So here's the good news. First thing that we need to do is we just decide who we want to serve, okay? None of this nonsense market research that takes hours, right? No, we just decide who is our ideal client. How many of you have ever had a client, okay? This is for those of you that have already been in business for a little bit. How many of you have had a client that you just can't stand? Type a number 3 in the chat. How many of you had that client that you're just like, oh my gosh, like I really just don't want to speak to them right now?
Oh, I really wish I hadn't signed them up. But you had to because you needed the money. You had to sign them up as a client because you needed the cash because you weren't sure where the next client was going to come from, but they just drive you mad. Okay, I see you, Carol, Todd, Brett, Philip, Gwen, Avinda, Peter, Dana. There's a bunch of you. All right, guess what? I've had them too. But I don't attract them anymore, and we don't accept them anymore because we go right back to the beginning of the process and we decide, who do I want? And we don't move from that position. And I'm talking about who we want in where, you know, in the context of where that person is, what they need, how far along the journey they are to finding the solution that you have. But I'm also talking about personality. We don't accept people into our coaching who we know are going to be troublemakers, who I don't want to jump on a call with, or my team doesn't want to jump on a call with because, you know, we just know it's going to be an annoying call. We don't even accept those people. We go right back to the beginning. Who do we want to serve? And we don't move on that. So let's dive deeper into this. We must be bold and call out exactly who we want to serve. We decide who we want, and then we have to be bold in carving our path in the space. A big mistake that people make in the beginning is we feel that before we have any authority, before we can truly niche down, we have to cast a really wide net. We think that the only way I'm going to get some clients is if I just accept anyone and everyone. Like, I'll just cast a really wide net. I'll say that I'm a life coach. I'm also a marriage coach. I'm also a financial advisor. I'll just take anyone in the beginning. I'll cast a really wide net. That is one of the worst things you can do. You will 100% lose if you play that game. Okay? You're going to get stuck in the mud because what you're trying to do is win a client because you think that the way to get your first client or second or third or fourth is to go really wide. But actually, no one's listening to your message. No one's hearing you. No one's noticing you because you sound like everyone else. So this is the first lesson in standing out, is deciding who you want, not moving from that position, and speaking out in your messaging, in your headlines, in your copy. In everything you do online, you speak to that crowd and that crowd only. And now, above the noise, they're going to hear you and they're going to see you and they're going to notice you because you're saying something that is specific to them. Give me a yes in the chat if you're tracking with me. In fact, give me a thumbs up because I can see you. Give me a thumbs up if you're tracking with me so far. Making sense? Okay, 60% thumbs I think I can see. That'll do. I'll assume the rest of you are putting a thumbs up mentally in your head. All right, next thing. We then have to be magnetically attractive to the person that we want to target. And we actually want to be, repulsive is quite a strong word. Perhaps I could have found a slightly softer word, but we want to truly repel the wrong people. And we actually do this in our marketing, and we do this in our messaging, and we do this in the process of deciding who we want to serve. Because how many of you want to be on the phone with a potential prospect that is not a good fit? A potential prospect that was never the right type of client for you, but somehow they've ended up on the phone. No, we're going to waste our time, right? That's an awful, awful position to be in when you're on the phone and you are spending 1 hour of your life that you will never, ever get back speaking to a client that was never a good fit in the first place. So we can actually use our marketing messaging to repel those people so they never even get the opportunity to book a call with you. Does that sound a little bit more refreshing? Yeah? Okay, that's what we're going for. Now, again, trust the process. Some of you are saying, well, how do we do that? And we're going to get to it all. All right.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this content and you're starting to think, maybe I could do something like this, but there's some questions. Have I got the right idea? Am I pricing it right? Am I positioning it right? I've got a free gift for you. It's called the Business Viability Checklist. And it's a checklist of all the things you need to tick if you want to have a new business that you launch online that is profitable, successful, and finds the right clients. If you want it, it's my free gift to you. Click the link in the description box. Tell me where to send it. Back to the video.
We're going a bit deeper now. Wider markets versus mini markets. Here's how we start to carve our path. A wider market is, as the name suggests, the umbrella category that you're in, right? You might be in the health and fitness industry. You might help people lose weight. You might help people You might be a life coach, right? You might teach, marketing training. Like that's the wider market. And what we want to do is we want to go a little bit closer to home, and we want to start to define what I call a mini market. And we stand out by speaking to a portion of the wider market. People spend money with the most specific message. I'll say that again. People spend money with the most specific message. The more specific you can be in targeting them where they're at right now, the greater chance you have of landing that client. Let's look at some examples. Let's say that somebody was looking for a wedding photographer, and they went out there online and they were searching for this wedding photographer, and there were two that caught their attention. Both photographers had amazing photos. Both photographers had a really nice personality. Both photographers seemed like they would get the job done and get it done really, really well. But one of them advertised themselves as just a photographer. They can do it all. I can do weddings. I can do engagement shoots. I can do parties. I can do conferences. I can do it all. And the other one specialized in weddings. I'm a wedding photographer. The quality of photos that these two photographers could produce might be identical. But if you were looking for a wedding photographer, who are you going to go with? You're going to go with the second option, the one that specifies themselves as a wedding photographer. Just by the nature of them speaking out some specificity, they're going to win the client over someone who's equally as qualified. Let's look at another example. I was wandering through the supermarket recently because I had a cold, and I was looking down the shelves, down the pharmacy aisle, and I'm looking for something that will make me feel better. And usually I would go for this thing here on the left, right? Just go for some Lemsip, get that down me, see if that'll soothe my throat. And I just picked up the Lemsip and I was about to wander out, and I noticed this one on the right, man flu. And I thought, yes, they understand me. They understand what I'm going through. And so I went and I purchased man flu. It was double the price. It was double the price, but I went with man flu. Why? Because of branding and positioning, not because of the contents of the product. The content, in fact, if you look at the ingredients, they're basically identical. In fact, you're actually getting less with the man flu because the liquid is already put together. So I'm getting probably 10 times less the quantity of the actual ingredients. But I went for it purely because I felt more understood. The ladies are shaking their head at me. All right. So this is all about positioning. And you can do the same thing in your marketplace. You can just go one level deeper and be that little bit more specific, and people will spend money with you because of that. A couple more examples. A general marketing agency, right? They just help businesses with their marketing, or a marketing agency specifically for fitness businesses. If you are a fitness business, you are going to go to the fitness agency every single time. Okay. So we start with the wider market. So write this down. We start with the wider market, and then we think of 2 to 3 categories within that market. And I call these mini markets. Mini markets, smaller groups of people that we can now identify a little bit better so that we can have a more specific marketing message just for them. Let's take a look at some examples, okay? My example, I target business owners and entrepreneurs, right? I'm teaching you guys how to market your businesses online. Well, if I go just a few stages deeper, if I find some categories within that, one is coaches and consultants. Another is information products and digital courses. Another is just experts that have knowledge to monetize. Now, if I can get a bit more specific like this, then I can create ads and messaging and headlines that speak more specifically to one or all of these groups of people. Think about it. If I went out there and I had a video ad, for example, that said, hey, I can show you how to get more clients for your business using a webinar funnel. And here's how it works, and here's why it's so amazing. That would not nearly be as impactful as if I started my ad by saying, and by the way, this is an example of me using all 3 of these. I could say,
Hey, real quick, if you're a coach or a consultant, or you sell digital courses, or maybe you just have knowledge in your head that you're looking to package up and get clients for online, listen, there is no better way to get a client than a webinar, and here's why. Boom, and then in we go. Right? Just by getting more specific with who it is I'm wanting to target, the greater chance I have of actually moving those people through. Specificity. So we want to corner a portion of the wider market with a message that speaks directly to a mini market or multiple mini markets at the same time. But we don't speak to the wider market. We don't just say, hey, you're looking to lose weight? No, we want to get more specific. Okay. And we're going to talk even more. We're going to go deeper and deeper on this. You guys doing okay? Are we doing okay? All right, good. Because we're just going to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. So pay attention here, because this stuff is gold dust. All right. This is the stuff that contributes to us charging high ticket. I think most of you have a good understanding of the ability to charge high ticket and why that's important and the benefits of it. But if any of you have concerns over your ability to charge high ticket, just understand this is one of the contributing factors. The more specific you are, the more money someone is willing to spend with you. Okay, think about this. I wanted to, I wanted to test out some different marketing strategies recently, and there was a coach that we were looking at. You know, it's very, very expensive, but anyway, I had a couple of different options of people that I could go with. And when I was looking around at their marketing messaging, one of them advertised themselves as just being able to help, you know, anyone who sells, you know, high ticket courses and coaching, similar to, you know, what we were doing. Someone else was evidently speaking directly to businesses of my size, right? They went one level deeper. They went into a mini market where they said, hey, actually, rather than speaking to the wider market, let's carve our corner and speak to the sizable companies. So at the moment, me and my team, we do multiple 7 figures a year. So as soon as this person said, you know, in their marketing messaging, hey, if you've got a business that is doing over $2 million a year and you are looking to scale to 10 million a year, and you're looking for the strategies to bolt on that's going to enable you to, look, I'm already, that guy could shut up. Like I'm sold. I'm already in, because I was in the business of trying to find a solution to a problem, which is scaling to 1 million a month. We've got our journey to get there. We know what we're going to do, but we want to fast track it. I'm always looking for more coaches to help us fast track and shortcut. I was already sold because he described my situation. Give me a thumbs up if this is making sense. Yeah, this person described my situation. So, okay, I'm sold. Like, you could have worse training. You could have worse coaching than this other person, but you spoke to me. This contributes to us charging high ticket. I wrote that person a check for $25,000 because I was just like, yep, you've said who I am and you've demonstrated you understand me. You've got more specific. There is more than enough opportunity for us all to carve some space in the mini market and still go out there and land a bunch of clients. More than enough opportunity. I want to give you some examples. There's a guy called Andrew Arga. His wider market is service-based businesses, okay? Service-based businesses. His mini market that he's decided to carve is accounting businesses, specifically CPAs, accountants, right? Accounting firms, that kind of thing, right? Accounting businesses, how to grow their accounting firms. How much revenue do you think this guy does every month? Go ahead and let me know in the chat. Okay, Todd says 30,000. Daria says 300,000. Brett says 30. Jay says 100,000. Peter 100. Carol 100. Lavkesh 100. 20,000. 45,000. Okay, I'm afraid none of you are even close. His business does, well, at last count, when I last spoke to a mutual friend we have, he does $1 million a month. Let that sink in for a minute. $1 million, $1 million every single month. And he's targeting accounting businesses. Now,
I would argue that he wouldn't have got his business to 1 million a month if he was just teaching general businesses how to grow. All right. It's just too broad. It's speaking to the wider market. He carved a little mini market, decided I'm going to go after a specific group of businesses. And with that specificity, boom, he blew up 1 million a month. There's a guy called Alex Hormozy. He's got a company called Gym Launch. And again, fitness businesses is the wider market. His mini market is physical gyms. So think about this for a minute. He teaches people how to grow their fitness business, but he went a level deeper and said, I'm going to focus on teaching people who have physical locations. Surely that's a smaller market, right? Surely that is more, there's just not enough of them, right? How many people actually have already a physical premises where they have clients coming to work out in their premises? Well, I believe this is public knowledge. So I don't think I'm making a mistake here. He just sold that company. And I believe he had a $40 million payout. He just sold this company and he was doing 4 million a month with this business. I think it was more than 40 million. I might be doing him a complete disservice, but anyway, a lot of money. He had accumulated over 100 million in revenue by going into a mini market. Some other examples, life coaching, okay? You might say you're a life coach. Okay, great, but let's get a little bit more specific. If I asked you, yes, you do life coaching, but if you, and I'm looking at my door of the studio here, and now you picture looking at your door, if you could click your fingers and your ideal client walked through that door, okay, who would they be? What problems would they have? What problems would your client have that you feel most confident to solve? You might say, oh, well, I could do a lot of stuff. Wherever they are in their life, I can kind of help them. Yeah, okay, but we don't want to just kind of help them. Like, what do you feel most excited about, most confident about? And you might say, well, look, actually, yeah, if I really break it down, usually it's people that have relationship issues. I'm really, really good with those people. It might be kind of wealth creation, like they're just trying to figure out their finances. And, I've got a lot to share in that area. And it might be health and wellness. It might be life coaching them in the sense of just helping them stay accountable to their health and fitness. You might just say, those are the three. Like, out of everything I could do, those are the three I feel most excited about. Great. Then let's stay specific with those. And let's let that feed into our marketing messaging. All right. I got a few more examples, but I think we'll move on. I think you're getting the idea. Okay. So next, once we start to identify who it is that we want to serve, now the big not so secret is that your potential customers and clients just want to feel understood. That's the big thing. How many of you are here right now? In fact, you don't need to answer. I mean, you can if you want, but I already know. How many of you are here because there was an element of my marketing and my messaging that made you feel understood? I'm pretty sure it's almost every single person in the room. Yeah, I'm getting a thumbs up from Neil. So definitely Neil and many others. There was stuff that I said and did that made you feel, okay, this John guy, his team, what he seems to know, like it's speaking to me. He seems to have the solution to my specific problem, right? That's by design. That's strategic. I know who I'm wanting to go after. I knew that I wanted you. I've been stalking you online, trying to get you to this boot camp. Right? Now you can have that same effect. You can do the same thing. All right. So you need to demonstrate, and this comes in our marketing messaging, which we'll talk more about tomorrow, but just setting the foundation. You need to demonstrate that you understand them, where they're at, and what they want and what they need. Again, you need to demonstrate that you understand them, where they're at, and what they want and need. I'm going to pause for a minute while you either write that down or take a screenshot, because this is really important. This lays a solid foundation for the work we're going to do moving forward from here. Okay. It's all about understanding. Lavcash, I saw you put it in the chat just a moment ago. Displayed understanding. That's what I call it with our clients. Displayed understanding. We're displaying that we're understanding who they are. Now we need to get into the mind of our ideal customer and client now. Once we've decided who it is, once we've decided what kind of mini market we want to delve into to get more specific, now we need to get into their mind. And there are really two key ways to do that. And for most of you, by the way, it comes from what is already in your head. You're all on the line right now because you kind of know what your superpower already is. You know what it is you can offer to the world. You know what it is, that you have that's valuable, that people need. And so you by default already understand the pains and frustrations that your audience would have without this solution. And you would already know how to describe the gains and the things that they want. Okay. Now, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to understand, well, we're going to write these down in a minute, but people are either running away from pain or running towards gain. Okay. There are things in their life that they are finding too painful, too frustrating, too overwhelming, and they're trying to escape that pain. They're going online looking for a solution because they don't want to feel this pain anymore. It might be the pain and frustration of being overweight and how that makes them feel, right? It might be the pain of being in a marriage that they know they're sugarcoating it to their friends and people around them, but deep down they're not in unity with their spouse. They're not in love anymore. The romance is gone. Whatever the case may be, there's that pain. They really want to escape that, or they're running towards gain. Right? They've got a holiday coming up and they want to have the 6-pack abs back, or whatever the case may be. They want to earn that $10,000 a month in their business. They want to gain that, right? They're either running from pain or they're running towards gain. And we have to note this stuff down. So here's the first exercise of the day. And we're not going to necessarily stop for this exercise, but I am going to give it to you as homework a little bit later on. Let's stop screen sharing for just a moment. What I want you to do on a blank piece of paper right now is I want you to draw a line straight down the middle. Many of you will have done this exercise before, and many of you will not have done it before. Either way, it's a good thing to do again. Line down the middle of your paper, line across the top. You're going to write pains at the top of one, and you're going to write gains on the top of the other. Now, your goal at the end of this boot camp is to go back to this sheet of paper, and I want you to have 10. I want you to have listed 10 pains, and I want you to have listed 10 gains. Okay? Now, let's just dive a bit deeper into how we figure these out. Because for some of you, you're going to find it easy getting to 3. And then you're going to start to struggle to get to 10. Why? Because you're looking at this from a 40,000-foot view. You're not getting into the weeds as to what are they really feeling? What is going on for them? Let's use dog training as an example. It's a nice one for everyone to understand. If you're teaching someone to train their dog, then you might say, well, what's their pain? Well, their pain is, and then we're just so broad. Their pain is, well, they've got a dog that's out of control. Their pain is they've got a dog that doesn't listen to them. Right? The pain is that, and it's obvious. Those are the obvious ones. What we have to do is we have to dig a few layers, like peel back the onion a little bit. Okay? Peel back the onion, find the layers underneath. What's the ripple effect? What is also going on behind the scenes? It's the embarrassment being out in public when your dog is pulling on the lead and not paying attention. It's the feeling that other dog owners are judging you when you go down to the doggy park and your dog is, the least well-behaved dog there. It's that judgment. It's that feeling of, oh no, gosh, I'm seeing those people again. Right? It's a feeling of shame. It's the added expense, right? Luckily, my little Stanley doesn't do this. I kind of elaborate, I kind of dramatized it a bit. We're actually getting there with the training. But a dog owner who's out there searching for dog training, their dog might be chewing up the carpet, chewing up the curtains, chewing up the sofas. So it's actually costing them financially. That's another pain, having to keep buying new curtains or new rugs and carpets. Now get this, let's go even a few layers deeper. Maybe it's causing trouble in their marriage. Maybe one of them wanted the dog and the other one didn't want the dog. Or maybe they both wanted the dog and now one of them's having second thoughts, but the other one's like, no, let's push through. So now they're arguing every day. It's causing conflict in the house. Maybe that's rippling down and affecting the kids in the house. You see how we just start to peel back the onion here and we start to find out what's really going on. Let's do another one, weight loss. The pain, overweight, right? Or what, wants to lose the weight, whatever. No, let's peel back the onion. What is it? Well, they're not happy with the person they see in the mirror. They're getting out of breath when they climb a set of stairs and they're realizing this isn't right. They are struggling to stay accountable to themselves. They're comfort eating. They don't want to, but they know they're doing it and they need the help for that. It makes them feel like they can't be themselves around their friends anymore. They constantly feel like they're just being judged in every situation, even though people probably aren't doing that. They're feeling like they are. They don't like taking their top off. Right? Bang, 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 bang. What? Peel back the onion. What is going on for this person? Now you might be saying, John, what are we going to do with this information? Well, it's not. We're not going to make someone feel bad for all of this stuff. But what we are going to do is we're going to use this in our marketing at certain points. We're going to say some of these things. Chances are you're feeling like this. This is going on for you. And what you really want is this, this, and this, but you keep getting stuck here, here, and here. Guys, I can help you. Now, if you have a message that is that specific, you are going to win over a Facebook ad or a YouTube ad that popped up for another, DVD set for a workout for $47, right? They've had enough of those. That's another pain, by the way. That goes right there on the list. The pain of trying diet programs before and them not working. Trying home workouts and it didn't work. Going to the gym and feeling overwhelmed by the equipment. Walking into the gym and just feeling like they've got no clue what they're doing, that they end up walking out, prematurely and they didn't really finish their session. Guys, this should become second nature. You just start to go deep on your avatar and how are they feeling? What are their pains and what are their gains? And by the way, a shortcut is that it's just the opposite. Whatever you write down on the pains list, the gain can just be the opposite of that. Or you write down something on the gains list and the pain can be the opposite. All right. But the more specific we get with this stuff, the more we can drop it into our marketing, the more we're going to win. And going back on that example, someone's got a YouTube ad or a Facebook ad for just another generic workout DVD set, or the opportunity to register and opt into a video, or even some of you will leave this bootcamp and want to dive into the webinar. So maybe you'll have a webinar that they come to and you say all the right things that make them feel really connected to you. They jump on the phone, they find out that your coaching is $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, but they're like, you know what? You said all the right things. And now I need to make a decision. Is this problem that I have and the solution that you can offer me, is it worth the $4,000? And I think it is, because I'm sick and tired of being in the spot where I am. So I'm going to make that change now. But it's because you got so crystal clear with your message and who you're going after. Is this making sense, guys? Is this good stuff? Are you getting it? Yeah? Do this for me if you're getting it. I want to see who's getting it. You getting it? All right, there we go. Good, good, good. All right, let me jump back down here. So that's one of your homework for later on. Okay, I want you to fill that in. And don't forget, what do my most successful students do? They execute, they take action. So when you leave this bootcamp, do it, do the homework. It's good practice, keeps you in a momentum phase. Okay. Next thing, we need to stand out in the market. We've already talked about a lot about how we do that. But this is a common misconception as to how we can stand out. Do we need to have a big audience, impressive branding, success stories? Is that how we stand out in the marketplace? The answer is no. We don't need those things. We do not need any success stories to start. We do not need impressive branding, and we do not need a big audience. That stuff is a byproduct of you being in the industry for a period of time. Okay? I didn't just pop out my mother's womb and I had a bunch of success stories ready to build a business whenever I wanted to. No, I got started with no success stories, with no brand, with no following, and I did what I needed to land my first client. and I got my first client results. Now I have a bit of success story. Second client, third client, fourth, and momentum starts to build. The byproducts of those three things, you don't need them to get started, okay? Some of us have a skewed view of the makeup of this situation. Let's just say, for example, you're in the same industry as Tony. All right. And so ideally, there are some clients that Tony has or customers that Tony has that actually you'd quite like. But you're constantly looking at the situation in the marketplace and thinking, well, how can I land clients if I'm trying to go up against Tony? Tony is at the top of the stair set. Let's just imagine for a minute, he's at the top of his game, which let's not beat around the bush. He is, right? Tony's leading the charge in that industry. And so he's right at the top. So you're wanting to do something very similar, but you're halfway down the stair set. You're like a potential client looking up. Well, they're going to look way past me and they're going to look at Tony because they want what he has, but you're missing the point. What a client actually wants, what a potential customer actually wants is to feel understood. And it doesn't matter if you're halfway down the stair set or you're right close to them, a couple of steps ahead of them, okay? If you are connecting with them in a better way than Tony's marketing messaging, and don't get it twisted, he hasn't got the best people on the planet running his marketing. It's actually not that difficult to produce a better message than him, okay? Because we're going to get specific with who we want. Then the client is going to feel more connected to you. They're going to feel like you're more relatable. In fact, some people don't want to go to a 5,000 person event and jump on their feet like this and run over hot coals. Some of them just don't want that. Some of them want to connect with someone who they feel understands them and gets them. So if you can do that for them, then you're going to win that client, okay? And what's frustrating for me, and I say this in a positive way, many of you don't know your true value. You don't realize how valuable you are because you're comparing yourself to other people in the industry and feeling like how I've just described. The reality is, you don't think you're valuable or as valuable as I think you should find yourself, that's a bit of a tongue twister, because you already know what you know. And so we're putting an unrealistic expectation on ourselves for where we need to be and how we need to be positioned for us to appear valuable enough to win a client. Whereas actually, you're already 2 steps ahead. You're 2 steps ahead of a potential client. Tony's 20 steps, doesn't matter. You're 2 steps ahead of a potential client, which makes you feel like, but am I really that valuable? Yes, you are, because to that client and that customer, they don't know what you know. And it might not feel as valuable to you because you just know it. If you know how to bake a brownie, a really great brownie. Now, guys, I'm a lover of brownies. Don't get this. I go mad for those things. And there is a very specific way to bake a brownie. I'm going to go way off topic here, but a brownie needs to be nice and gooey from the bottom, still holding its shape, but nice and gooey. And then we start getting up to the top and it starts to harden a little bit. Maybe we'll have some chocolate chunks throughout the brownie. And then the top, we start to get a nice, thin, crispy layer at the top of the brownie. Who's with me? Who agrees? Did I just describe the right type of brownie? Okay. I see a couple of you shaking your heads. You're wrong. That is the perfect brownie. So now let's just imagine that you know how to bake that brownie. And every single time you put that mixture together and you pour it in the tray and you put it in the oven and you turn the dial to the right temperature and you set the timer and it's second nature now. You're wandering around the kitchen, you're doing other things. You've got TV going on at the same time. You've got friends around, you're talking with them. There's so much else going on, but at the same time, this world-class brownie is baking itself in the oven. Now you'll get to a point where that becomes so second nature that the idea that someone might want to learn what it is, you just say, yeah, it's just a brownie. But you don't realize that other people are messing up their brownies every single day. Got a friend of mine that can't cook one to save his life. He tries, bless him. So you have got to a point where what you know is so second nature that you have actually lowered your perception of your own value. Whereas to someone else, they're viewing your value so much higher than you have a view of yourself. Is this making sense?
So you need to have the confidence to go out there right now and realize, no, actually, I can help people right now. I've got to stop delaying getting this out into the world. I'm going to do it now, okay? And the way that we do this, the way that we grab their attention, the way we connect with them is the pains and gains that we've talked about, is diving into a mini market like we've talked about. And finally, you can go a step further, and this is optional. So write this down in your notes. This is optional. We can go a step further, which is getting specific with who we're speaking to in the sense of either a demographic or something specific about a type of person that helps us get even closer to who they are. So I'll give you an example. You might do business coaching, but maybe you want to double down on female entrepreneurs over the age of 40 that are building online. I actually have one of my clients who does this. So she just said, look, I just connect better with women. I know I can speak to them. I can speak their language. So, and if they're over 40, I know they've usually got the money to pay high ticket and they're at a similar age to me. So I can connect with them. Women over 40 building online. Suddenly now so much more specific. Network marketing, teaching people how to grow their network marketing business. We can get more specific by targeting only leaders in the network marketing industry, right? So rather than targeting everyone who's in that industry, instead, we're targeting only the leaders. Now, in our marketing and our messaging and our positioning, we can say things, we can speak the language that we know leaders in that space. That's how they communicate, and not someone who's brand new to network marketing, okay? Helping PTs, that stands for personal trainer. Helping PTs to get more clients, or helping PTs to switch from one-to-one coaching to online. Now we're starting to get a bit more specific. Instead of just helping personal trainers to get any clients, it's no, let me help you transform what you're doing, bring it online, scale what you're doing, move away from one-to-one. We're getting more specific. How to get in shape, men over 50. I've got a client that does this. He just connects with that age group and specifically men, and he knows how to speak to them. Life coaching, maybe it's specifically married women. That's who you, for whatever reason, feel passionate about. The woman that's in that situation, not that there's, that the man doesn't have problems and need help also, but you just feel, I can speak to these women. I can help these women, right? That's my entry into their marriage to help solve the problem. Married women. And dog training. Maybe it's a specific breed or age, okay? This might seem simple, but it's really powerful. Imagine, my dog, I've got a Maltipoo. It's a cross between a Maltese and a poodle. Now, when we were looking to get some training for little Stan the man, I didn't even find one, by the way, but if there were two options for training and one of them was general dog training, any breed, any shape, any size. And another one was specifically Maltipoos. And imagine if someone said in a video, hey, do you have a Maltipoo that is constantly doing this, and this? And I'm thinking, yes. And you want him to do this, yes. Well, there is a different way that a Maltipoo thinks than a German Shepherd, than this. And you've got to understand how to connect with the Maltipoo specifically and what that breed was designed to do, what they were bred to do. And if you can understand that, you'll start to alter their behavior, blah, 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 blah. I'm sold. I am sold because they went one level deeper on some specifics. Okay. Is this making sense? Yeah. Making sense? Making sense. Okay. I saw 3 thumbs. That's not very encouraging. Is this making sense? There we go. I see you. All right. So this is the difference between being a needle in a haystack, blending into a market that you think is saturated, that no one's going to notice you. And it's a difference between being a bowling ball in a haystack. If you are a bright red pin in a haystack, it doesn't matter that you're bright red, no one's going to see you. But if you're a bright red bowling ball on the top of a haystack, you're going to be seen. This is the difference. Same barn, same hay,
but we have just positioned ourselves in a way where we're more visible, we're more relatable, and someone is going to connect with us. All right. So top tip, be the client that you want to attract. I learned this early on and it changed everything for me. I went through the early years of my business not being the client that I want. I'm preaching that I want a certain client, but I wasn't acting in the way that I would want a client to act, right? Think about this. Your ideal client doesn't want to dabble, right? They don't want to just dabble with a solution. You want ideal client. Your ideal client is someone who wants to go all in. Your ideal client is someone that will take your coaching seriously, will do the work and reach out for help, will do whatever it takes, doesn't want minimal results. They want maximum results. And what I have found is you attract what you put out there. So start to look at the areas of your life where actually your ideal client and what you would want for them, you're not displaying that same behavior. Because if you alter that behavior and you start acting and being and sounding like the client you want, it'll actually start to become second nature. It's like driving. Like I've got to a point now where I know my avatar so well, I know who it is that I'm targeting, that I speak the language, I act like I want the type of client that I want. I want a client that takes action quickly, so I take action quickly. I want a client that doesn't hesitate and dabble like I've put on here. I want a client that implements quickly. So I have learned to implement quickly because I want that to become second nature in how I attract clients too. So session 2, pricing your offer. Okay. Looking at the process that we're building here, we need to start here, or rather we go here next. We started with the avatar and now we're moving over to the offer. And there are 2 things that we need to do. So go write this down if you're following along the journey. 2 things we need to do. The first is we have to price the offer. And the second is we have to create the offer. Price the offer, create the offer. Now, there is actually an order to this, okay? There's an order to this. We start by pricing our offer, and there's a really, really important reason why we do this, okay? Let me know in the chat, how many of you can guess, just in a few words, why do you think we price the offer before we create the offer? Let me know in the chat. And Lydia, you've said, can you type out the assignment on the chat? We're going to send you a homework form at the end, so don't worry about that. Dario says because of the value. Elizabeth says value. Mindset, create value. Okay, very good. We've got some good suggestions in here. The reason we price it first is because the price of the offer has almost zero relevance to what you actually offer them. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The price of your offer has almost zero relevance to what you actually offer them, to what you actually deliver for them. Okay, now let me elaborate on this a little bit. People aren't paying for more stuff. Now, if you create the offer first, and by creating the offer, I mean, okay, I'm going to have 4 modules of training. Yes, I'm going to have 4. No, hold on. I'm going to have 5 modules. I'm going to make it even bigger, even more valuable. I'm going to have 5 modules of training. I'm going to have 10 lessons in every module. Oh, I'm going to have resources. I'm going to have, I tell you what, I'm going to have a bunch of resources. I'm going to have this. I'm going to offer a weekly call. You start to build out the offer. And if you price it afterwards, you are getting stuck in a trap of pricing based on what you think this thing that you've created is worth, as opposed to realizing that irrespective of how you're packaging it up, you carry a value in the problem that they have and the solution you can bring. And they don't even care in what form you're offering them that solution. They really couldn't care less. They want the solution. They want the solution that's in your head. They've got a problem, you have the solution, that is it. We're putting a value on that and we create the offer afterwards. Is this making sense? Let me know if this is making sense. Okay, we're still getting the hang of the thumb thing. All right. So we're going to start with the pricing. Start with the pricing. Now check this out. How many of you heard of the offer triangle before? Type a 1 in the chat if you've heard of it. And type a 2 in the chat if you haven't. Type a 1 if you've heard of it. Type a 2 if you haven't. All right, we've got a few ones, mostly 2s. Good. The offer triangle, oh my gosh, this is going to change it for you. This is going to change your perspective. This is a concept that I came up with that I teach my clients, that there are 3 sides or 3 things to consider when creating our offer and our deliverables that make sure, well, you'll see, okay? You'll see. The first thing that our offer has to satisfy is client results. Client results. We need to make sure that whatever it is that we package up, and of course, we're only focusing on price here, but I'm just setting a little bit of the scene for later on. We need to make sure it's set up for client results. You're not going to have a feel-good business if you're just making money, but your clients aren't winning, right? That's not going to feel good. That's not going to be long-term. We want to have an impact, right? So we want our clients to win. The second thing we have to satisfy though, and we have to find a balance between these 2 things is, yes, I want my clients to win, but I also want to have a life. I also want to have a life. I don't want to be shackled to my clients to the point where I'm not enjoying my life anymore. So we have to find that balance. And then there's a third thing that we have to throw into the mix, and we have to get this one to balance as well. And that is scalability. Scalability. So we need to have an offer that satisfies client results, that satisfies your lifestyle, and is built to scale so that you don't hit a ceiling, right? If you're charging $50 an hour, $50 an hour for coaching, okay? There's only so many hours in the day where you can fill those coaching slots, and perhaps, perhaps 4 a day is tiring enough. 4 coaching sessions a day, all right? So you're maxed out at 4 clients a day at $50. That's $200 a day. What is that? That's less than $6,000 a month. Now, I understand that $6,000 a month is a decent, size of cash, but how many of you want to earn 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month and believe it's possible? But if that's the case, you've built into your model a ceiling that you're never going to be able to cross. Okay? And you're burning out because you're doing 4 intense coaching calls every single day. So you may not want that. So that's not scalable. And it trickles back down to not satisfying your lifestyle and your client results. And I've had problems at each level. Remember at the beginning, and I'm going to get really honest and vulnerable with you right now, when I was, this was maybe 10 years ago. 10 years ago now, when I really got started online, at the forefront of my mind was not client results. The forefront of my mind was, I want to build a business. I want to earn some cash. And so I just had this goal of making $10,000 a month. That was the goal. I did not have this on my mind. Some of my clients, got great results, and that was awesome, but I wasn't checking in with them, making sure they were winning. That just wasn't on my radar. And it wasn't until maybe 5 or 6 years ago that I realized, I noticed it, and I realized, no, I want to double down on client results. And our business has started to explode since then because we have such a high success rate of clients that work with us, because we've actually built now an infrastructure around client results to make sure they win. We have certain parameters and certain things, ways that we check in that literally lead a client all the way to the promised land. And so we're focused on client results. And what we find is there's momentum that builds from that. Word of mouth. You get people making recommendations to you, and you sign up clients that way. You get all these success stories that you can shout from the rooftops about, and everything starts to snowball. Let's talk about lifestyle for a minute. I started making a change to my lifestyle only really in the last 2 years. Now, again, I'm being pretty honest and vulnerable with you here, because go back beyond 2 years. I was just a bit of a workaholic. And there was a part of it that I was doing, not because I necessarily enjoyed it, but because I just felt like that's what you need to do to win in this game, right? You're gonna be working all the time. You've got to outwork the people around you. And so I'm doing webinars late at night. I remember it. Gosh, there was a, where this would be 2016 and 2017, where I was doing about 3 or 4 webinars a week, live webinars. And I was doing it for the American crowd. How many Americans do we have in the house? Raise your hand if you're okay. So I was doing it for you guys. You burnt me out. I was kidding. I was doing it for you guys, and I was staying up late into the early hours of the morning, and I would do a 2-hour webinar from 2 in the morning until 4 in the morning. And I would do that 3 or 4 times a week. And then I'd have coaching calls, and I'd have things that we got, and we'd put them in the evening because it was just better. And I didn't realize how much I was burning myself out, and I wasn't satisfying the lifestyle component of this. And it's only in the last couple of years that I've really started to reorientate the focus of the business. I'll give you another example. Going away on holiday with my wife. Before 2 years ago, I would be sat on a beach in a deck chair with my wife. We're on holiday, and I'm on my phone replying to clients. And that was normal to me. I didn't realize there was anything wrong with that. I was just on holiday, and that's just what I do. I just reply to clients. And it wasn't until I started to move in a direction where we would change the way this game was played, where I thought, hold on a minute, let's build this around my lifestyle, and let's see if this affects client results. Because that's the big thing. Because I suddenly thought, well, if I don't reply to a client while I'm on holidays, is the world going to collapse? Let's test this out. And so I sent a message to my private clients. I said, hey guys, I'm off on holiday and I won't be contactable for a week. Send. Oh my gosh, hope they'll be okay with that. And the response was, hey, cool, have a great holiday. See you when you get back. I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. So then I did that again when the next went on holiday, and again and again. And I've now developed this setup in my business where I'm like, hey, if I just don't do something if I don't want to do it. If it goes into the evening or if it goes into the weekend too often, or if it's this, if it's that, I don't do it. And what I found is that it doesn't affect client results. And then the final piece is then scalability. I need to make sure that this whole operation is scalable. Can we scale it while maintaining my lifestyle? And can we scale it while not sacrificing client results? In fact, can we do it while amplifying client results? And we have. And so now we make more money, have a bigger business, a more enjoyable business. We work with clients that we love, and we do it while satisfying these 3 things. How many of you light bulbs are going off right now? Give me the light bulb click. You got to do these 3 things. Write them down. Draw the triangle in your notes. Don't ever forget this. And then what you guys can do, by the way, this is a resource to go back to. You can flick back to this page in your notes with this drawing of this triangle in 3 months, in 6 months, in 12 months, in 24 months, and you can do a fresh audit of your business. And you can say, have I started to sacrifice client results? Have I started to sacrifice lifestyle? And have I started to sacrifice scalability? If I have, you make corrections, okay? And if you can do these 3 things, you will truly have the business of your dreams. And here's the makeup. The client results is what they want, okay? That's for them. The lifestyle is what you want, that's for you. And the scalability is what allows that to happen, right? The scalability allows you to reach more clients that then they get the result, which is what they want. And you're building the business that makes a ton of money, has a huge impact, and is not impeding on your lifestyle. That's what you want, okay? Now, the way to do this, you probably guessed, is charge high ticket. You have to charge a high ticket amount. If you charge high ticket, you will get better clients. If you charge high ticket, you will get better clients. This is such an interesting shift because we often think that we can have a greater impact by selling something low ticket that we can get into the hands of hundreds, if not thousands of people. And it feels good. I'm having an impact. I'm having an impact. 2,000 people downloaded my PDF for $7. I'm impacting 7,000 lives, but are you though? Because how many of those people valued your work? How many of those 2,000 people actually went through the training? How many of those 2,000 people actually got the result? I would take one client for a high ticket value that did the work and got the result over 2,000 people that none of them did the work, right? How many of you are with me? Type 1 or 2,000 in the chat. Would you rather one client that does the work or 2,000 that don't do anything at all? Okay. Yes, lots of ones coming in. So it's a vanity number if we sell low ticket. If we sell low ticket, we're doing it because we think it feels good, and it only feels good until you realize that no one's actually getting the result. And it was all smoke and mirrors. So what ends up happening is the more someone pays for your coaching, the more they value it. And the more they value it, the more they'll use it. The more they'll use it, they'll get the result. So this is the difference between if you charge $50 an hour for one-to-one coaching, that person might just keep rescheduling the call because it wasn't important enough to them in their schedule. So they just keep rescheduling, and then they cancel. And then you're trying to chase that client and saying, hey, let's jump on again and let me help. No, they're just ghosting you, right? Because it was $50. But then when you charge $5,000 for the same outcome, suddenly you've got that person saying, can we have our next one-to-one? They don't reschedule. They're excited for it. They're ready to go because they value the training. We value where we put our money, right? We value where we put our money. So just by the pure fact that you are charging high ticket, okay, you are actually, get this, and I'm going to say this slowly because I don't want you to miss this. Just by the virtue of you charging high ticket, you are already serving your clients at a higher level just because of your price point. You are serving your clients at a higher level already just by charging a higher price point. Because if some of them even have to scramble to get in, if they can only just about pull together the cash to get into your program, if they feel the weight of that investment into your coaching, you do not need to shy away from, oh, I feel the weight of this person's brought their life savings here, whatever. No, you've got to be careful of you feeling the weight of it. They have felt the weight of it. So therefore they're going to do the work. And if they do the work, you can feel great about it because now you haven't got someone who's given you a bit of cash and then they have truly wasted that cash. You've got someone who's going to go all in on this and make a success of it, whatever the case may be, fixing their marriage, getting in shape, building that business, learning to trade, whatever the case may be, whatever you guys do, you'll be taken more seriously. So this actually just defaults to client results purely by charging high ticket. You'll have better client results. Lifestyle is improved, okay? Because we have very few moving parts. If I want to make $10,000 a month, like really think about this for a second. If I want to make $10,000 a month and I just decide to go crazy and say, hey, do you know what? My coaching's 10,000, right? Then one client a month gets me to my income goal. That's not very much to manage. One client, one human being who might be booking some calls with you, who might be contacting you for a resource or two. One client. Maybe you want to charge 5,000, 2 clients. Maybe you want to charge 3,000, 3 clients. 3 clients a month. So you can actually build this thing around your lifestyle, have some very considerable revenue, and it doesn't impede on your lifestyle. And then finally, scalability. You can scale low ticket stuff. I'm not saying you can't, but you can scale it far better when you're selling high ticket because it doesn't take that many clients to start climbing up the revenue ladder. You're charging $5,000 a client. You're getting 2 clients right now. That's $10,000 a month. Well, if we want to scale it, well, let's get to $20,000 a month. What have we got to do? We've got to find 4 clients this month, not 2. We want to get to $40,000 a month. Okay, well, we've got to find 8 clients this month, not 4. So you can scale it and get to some gigantic numbers. I actually want to get a quick read of the room and only say yes if you genuinely agree with this, okay? So don't just say it because you think John wants to hear it. I'm actually just curious, and it's not a trick question. How many of you believe it's possible for you to earn $40,000 a month? Type yes in the chat. Okay, yeah, Todd, Christina, Dana, Carol, Francis, Lavcash, Jay, Brett, Vanette. Okay, good, I see you.
A bunch of you. Billy, I thank you for the honesty. I want to, but feel nervous. John says, I want to believe it. Okay. Amy, I'm hopeful. Okay, very good. It all starts with that. And then lots of yeses. So if you want to get to 40,000, there's a reason why I asked that, because I'm giving an example of something that some of you might not even think is possible. And you're just going to have to expand your mind. And I'm hopefully going to help you with that as we go through the rest of this training. I mean, we're 90 minutes into this thing. Guys, we've got 3 days. You're locked in a Zoom room with me for 3 days. We're going to have so much fun. All right. So 40,000 a month is 8 clients at $5,000. So you have been able to scale this thing to quite a considerable revenue figure, and you've only got 8 clients, and you could probably take 20 or 30. So scalability is not an issue. And once you start to get to a point where you are wanting to scale past 40,000 and up to 6 figures a month and so on and so forth, well, you can increase your prices. There's another way to do it. So we can constantly go on this journey of high ticket. All right. Dana says more, actually. Very cool. Dana, let's do it. All right. And again, just to give you these examples, right? Peter Hurd, $2,000 offer, learning to code. Music coaching, £2,000. Real estate training, 15,000. Vocal coaching, 5,000. How to become an author, 5,500. Weight loss coaching, 2,000. Online training, 5,000. Network marketing coaching, 3,800. You just have to decide what you're worth, give it a number, and we move forward on it. Okay. So we've still got a lot more that I want us to figure out right now, but let me know in the chat, how many of you have already got your number that you're like, I want to charge that for coaching. That's just what I want to do. I'm not thinking about the offer yet. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to create and how it's going to look. I just know this is what I'm worth. So let me know what that number is. Let me know in the chat. Or what's the number that you want to get to? Neil, 3,000. Love it. Jay, 5K. Carol, 5K, 5K love cash. 3,000, Peter. Christina, good to see you. Nice to see you again. 3,000. 2K for Michael. 5,000 for Billy. Okay, 2,500 per client, 5,000, 5,000, 10,000, 10,000, 3,000, 3,000, 5,000, 2,000. Very cool. Good numbers. Okay. I want you to get inspired right now as to truly how close you are to making not only this a reality, but actually scaling pretty darn quickly, because Michaela came into our, she became a client of ours, much like, you guys have. She decided to stay with us, but we helped her on this expert creation journey where she wasn't confident in her offer and how much she was going to charge. And she's the alcohol coach that I was telling you about earlier. She had never done this before. So the idea of charging even $500, she was freaking out about. And we worked with her for a month, and then 2 months, and then 3 months, and her confidence built, and she started charging more, and she'd land a client at a new price point. She'd charge more, so on and so forth. Now she charges $5,000 for her coaching on how to get sober. And again, it's like, people ask me about Michaela and say, how on earth is she finding people that are paying her $5,000 just to learn how to become free from alcohol? And I'm saying, look, it's not about finding these people like they don't exist. It's deciding what you're worth, nailing your colors to the mask, and letting your marketing messaging only pull out and speak to those people, the serious people that are willing to pay that. And check out what happened to her in the first year. I want you to get excited. Don't forget, she started where you are right now, in this seat, creating her offer. And this is what she did in the first year. Check this out. I just did the math. Let me make sure you can hear. Can you hear that? Just give me a yes in the chat if you can hear that. Oh, okay. You should be able to now.
Maths on my turn. Well,
Whoops.
Well, just to finish, I just did the maths on my turnover, because I'm just coming to the end of my first financial year as a limited company, and it was 235,000.
Very cool.
So I'm really, really chuffed. There's a lot I need to do to improve the profitability and the functioning and all of that. Yep. But, really, thank you so much.
That's amazing.
That's an absolute mega result for a year one of a business, pretty much.
I love that. That is so cool. And you'll be getting one of these. Got it right here. We'll have one of these with your name on it, ready to go.
Yay.
And then we'll work up to the 7-figure one.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
That's so good.
I just want to get all of this operational stuff
Yeah.
really nailed. So it's stress free. I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it, get all that. And then, just crack on with the next bit.
So proud of you. You're doing it awesome. Well done.
I think you're amazing. It's been really, really life-changing, actually.
Wonderful. That's
Thank
so
you
good.
much.
So that's the first year, 230,000, and that's pounds, by the way, 230,000 pounds. Creating the offer, realizing the value, charging high ticket, and everything started to unravel from there. So if you want to be taken seriously in your marketplace, you just have to put your prices up. Now, I saw encouraging numbers there in the chat, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. That's the direction you should all be going in. And just by default of charging a high ticket amount, you are going to be taken seriously. And if you're taken seriously, you'll get better clients. If you get better clients, they'll do the work and get the result. All right. So how much someone is willing to pay is in direct alignment with how desperate they are for a solution. What I want to talk about right now is how do we find these people that are willing to pay high ticket? Do they even exist? Is it even possible to find someone in my marketplace that is not only willing to pay high ticket, but is going to pay it with me and not someone else in the space? This is a very important lesson that you're about to learn. There is there's a concept of time versus increased desire for a solution. If you grasp what I'm about to say right now, this will change, this will give you that shift that you need. Okay? Someone's willingness and desire to spend a high ticket amount on your coaching is when enough time has passed that their desire for a solution has increased enough that they are serious about what they need to do. So for many of us, if we're selling something low ticket, we're playing down here. And we might say, oh, but there's loads of information for free on Google and YouTube. Yes, there is. And those are for the people that are not very serious. The question is not, do people spend high ticket in your marketplace? The question is, are you getting in front of the right portion of the marketplace? Imagine this. Let's take 100% of your market and let's even give it the benefit of the doubt. And let's say 90% of them, 90% would never invest high ticket. Only 10% of them would, 10% right at the top. That doesn't mean anything. It has no relevance to you being able to charge high ticket because you're only trying to get in front of the top 10%. That's it. And your market is big enough that 10% is quite a sizable number. The 90% is going to feel overwhelming at times. The 90% is going to make you feel like, oh, can I really charge high ticket because there's loads of free information and someone's selling for an ebook at $7 and this person's got an online course for $100 that teaches something similar, and you're getting overwhelmed by the 90% because that is the majority. And you have to remember, in every market, there's that top 10% that are willing to pay high ticket, and that is tunnel vision. You're just going for that top 10%. Okay. And this is how it shows itself. You know, we've got like free ticket and low ticket and people who aren't serious. And then people start to invest mid ticket and then high ticket. And that's why we have clients that pay our coaching fee of 30,000 a year. We have clients that pay that, and they pay it on a regular basis because they are just further up the timeline. They're like, John, I just want to get close to you, close to your team, and I just want to get this thing done, right? That's the journey everyone goes on in every market. So you know what's really cool about this? If you really understand this, we can let other people have the lower level customers. Okay? I'm not being derogatory about the human beings that are there, but you get what I'm saying. Let's leave someone else to build a business on $20 ebooks. Let's leave someone else to build a business on a $500 course. And let's just wait until people move further up the timeline and then relate to our messaging, which grabs them where they're at, the point of desperation that they're at, and the seriousness that they're taking the problem that they have, and now their willingness to invest high ticket. Light bulbs going off? Light bulbs going off? Okay, I see you. I see you. This is so important to understand this. If you get this, changes the game. Okay, changes the game. I see you, Christina. Very cool. Okay, so check this out. I spent some time on some fancy slides. Are you ready for this? This is my priceometer. For lack of a better phrase or lack of a better name, this is my priceometer. Because I don't just want to get you excited about charging a high ticket and leave you wondering where you should position yourselves. I want you to leave today crystal clear clarity. All right, so check this out. We've got a few different price points here, starting at 1,000, and for argument's sake, just going up to 25,000. These are representing the amounts that you could charge for your coaching. If you are just getting started, what this means is, if you are yet to land a client, right, you're new to the space, you know that you're a coach, a trainer, expert, you know you've got knowledge, but you are just new, and you would be happy to say, yep, I'm early in the game, okay? Then you want to be at a price point between 2,000 and 3,000. That's where you should start. 2,000 and 3,000. Why? How have I come up with that number? Anything less than 2,000, you're undercharging yourself, you're undervaluing yourself, you're doing your clients a disservice because you're too cheap. Anything under 2,000. Anything over 3,000, if you're brand new, you might get the giddy feeling in your chest. Oh, but I haven't landed my first client yet, and I just want to get some momentum first. And so we're at a price that's not so high that it's really scary. Okay, we're at that nice, we're at that nice little price point, 2 to 3K, if you're just getting started. How many of you find yourselves in that bracket, just getting started, just figuring this out, packaging up your offer, getting out there? Just give me a yes in the chat if that's you. Okay. All right, bunch of yeses. So that's where you guys need to price yourselves. Next, if you already have successful students, so you've been around for a little bit, right? Maybe you are new to packaging up an offer like the one I'm teaching you how to do here, but you know, in another life, in another business, you've had clients, you've got success stories. Maybe you're taking your one-to-one coaching and you want to package it up differently or raise your prices or whatever, but you already have successful students, you have some momentum in your business. Then 3K to 5K. That's where you want to be. 3K to 5K. All right. So you're not getting started. You've been around for a little bit, and then you can have a view to move up. How many of you are in that bracket? Give me a me in the chat. How many of you are in that bracket? All right. Carol, Billy, Joy, Neil, Francis, Chris, Deborah, Daria, Joy. Very cool. 3 to 5K. Guys, commit to this number. Don't get excited with me here today on the boot camp, and 2 weeks time from now, I see an ad from you online selling a course for $500. I will chase you down. I will find your address. I will visit you, and I will post something nasty through your letterbox. Don't do it. Commit to your value. Commit to your value, because people will pay it. Promise you they'll pay it. Okay. Next, this is another little helpful bracket on my priceometer. I just want to keep saying that word. If you are in an industry where it is a non-financial result, okay, which means you're not like me in the marketing space where I'm teaching, you're investing in me because I'm going to help you make far more than that investment back. Or the trading space where you're learning to trade. So you invest in trading coaching because you ultimately want to make more money in return. If you're in a non-financial industry like weight loss, dog training, life coaching, or whatever the case may be, then this is a nice safe bracket to stay within, 2 to 5K. If you go over 5K, then that's when you can start to feel some sales resistance, right? People have to start to really question, you know, spending more than 5K if it's a non-financial result. Doesn't mean you can't have a second tier, but I'm talking about a core offer. Okay, your first primary core offer, you want it to be between 2 and 5K. Now, financial result, 5K to 15K for your core offer. All right. Once you start to get some momentum, you start to land some clients, everything's starting to work quite well. Now you're in a position where you can start to charge $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for your offer. Okay, your core offer, because you've built that momentum now that you needed to get to that point. All right. So still start here, start at 2 to 3K if you're just getting started, and then you can move up to charging higher ticket once you have some success stories coming in, you're building that momentum, you're getting some clients, everything's looking good. And then, like I mentioned, you can have a top tier offering later on down the track. You know, we've got a $30,000, $40,000 offer, but that's something that sits on the back end. We don't talk about it much. That's just for the you know, the top 10% of the 10%. All right. So my suggestion is start at 2 to 3K. Did you guys find my priceometer helpful? Is that helpful? Give you a good idea of where we're at with the price? Okay, good. Dana, I appreciate the commitment there to the thumbs up. All right. So my suggestion, start at 2 to 3K if you're just starting out. Now let's address one more thing. I call this the nervous newbie zone. The nervous newbie zone is that some of you will leave the boot camp and go, yeah, okay, I feel excited about charging high ticket, but John, tell you what, I will start charging at $400 if that's okay. And then I will work my way up. And I will give you a little virtual slap on the cheek. Don't do that, okay? Your brain will try and trick you and have you fall back into this. You'll get all excited with me here on the boot camp, and then you'll leave, and that voice in your head will start to kick off again. No, no one's going to pay high ticket. No, that's because he's John Penberthy and he's got a brand and all these things. Everything we worked on today starts to get undone, right? Nope. Stay away from the nervous newbie zone. In your notes, remember the 2K. In fact, I'm going to give you, obviously, the recordings of these main sessions. So go back over them and even screenshot some of these primary slides where I'm talking about these things that you don't want to forget. And you can even have them pinned up on your pin board above your desk. You can have my priceometer right there in front of you to gaze upon every time you sit and do some work. All right. And in case you're wondering, you know, I talked about non-financial industries. I get this a lot, John, surely if it's not to do with finance, surely someone doesn't pay high ticket. We've got a client called Carrie Young, and she teaches people how to cure autoimmune disease. Okay. No financial result there, but her program's 3,800 and she's crushing it. She's doing $30,000 every single month, selling this course. 8, 9 clients every single month. Bang, 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 3,800. And she teaches how to cure autoimmune disease. Okay. How's she doing that? She's understood. Guys, Carrie went through the same stuff I've just taken you through. Okay. The same training, understanding pains, gains, displayed understanding, carving out a little mini market, understanding who you want to speak to. She's just done exactly what you now have the ability to do. And understand that you sell how you buy as well. Okay. I had to learn this one a few years ago because I remember my business hit a point where I wasn't growing at the rate that I wanted. I wasn't attracting the type of clients that I wanted. And I wasn't feeling confident selling my stuff. When we started to charge high ticket, I wasn't feeling confident in how I was selling it. And I got to a point where I realized that I had priced my coaching more than I had ever invested in coaching myself. I'm going to pause and let that sink in and let you hear that. I was trying to charge more for my program than I had ever invested myself into coaching. So here I am speaking to people online, trying to get them to join a $5,000 coaching, but realizing I've never invested $5,000 into coaching. So obviously my confidence is going to be low. My understanding of them saying, okay, let me think about it. I'm going to go, yeah, of course, think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it, because that's what I would have wanted to do. So you sell how you buy. And what I've got into the frame of mind of doing right now is I make quick decisions on investment for my business, and I go and find shortcuts, and I pay people what they want for coaching, because I now have that as a default in the way that I operate. So now when I'm selling my coaching, I'm selling it with full confidence, because I know what it feels like to spend that level of money. I know the giddy feeling you get in your chest when you invest that kind of cash. So now I can relate to a client when they're about to invest in that with me and my team. And I don't let them off the hook if they're saying, oh, you know, yeah, maybe, hold on a minute. What's important to you right now? Because I know what that feels like, because I've been there. I remember, if we go way back, I'll tell you a quick little story. If we go way back to when I first started my business, this was back when eBay was a big thing. Back in, when was it? Gosh, this might even be 2012 now that we're going back to. One of my first businesses, guys, was buying and selling on eBay. That was how I got my start. So I would go onto eBay and I would find listings from China, and I'd buy a little electronics, and then I'd wait 4 weeks for them to arrive from China, and then I'd relist them. And I remember I started to look up training online, and you know, for people that could help me grow my eBay business. And I started to buy courses. And I remember there's a little crowd of courses that are in that kind of price bracket of $50 to $100. Okay. Many of you have probably experienced this, you know, when you first get started online. It goes back to that illustration I mentioned earlier. If I just go to it quickly, you know, I'm down here somewhere, right? I'm investing in $50, $100 courses, and that's just what I got used to. And I had a far larger expectation on what this course would provide me for $50. That then, when something came around that was $1,000, that felt like $100,000 to me, because I was so used to, yeah, of course, yeah, I invest in my business. I invest in my business, $47 at a time. And so then when this golden ticket seemed like it came along at $1,000, it felt like so much more. And then I look back on that, because by the way, I never bought it. I never bought that $1,000 course. And I stayed stuck. My eBay business wasn't really growing. And then I ended up switching gears and doing some different things anyway. But I look back on that and I remember, oh gosh, like how could I have expected to be able to sell confidently a high ticket program if I've never been through that process? So just keep that in mind. You sell how you buy. All right. So make a decision right now, commit to it. And I've already asked you what your price is. So we're already good to go. I saw 3Ks, 5Ks, 10Ks. We are all good. Okay. Now, one thing I want you to understand here is that we often make this thing seem so much bigger and more difficult than it actually is. And it scares us away from taking action. The idea of building okay, let me ask you, how many of you are on the journey to a 6-figure business, type 6? How many of you are on the journey to a 7-figure business? Okay, 6s, 7s, Carol, Billy, Dana, Peter, Neil. Okay, I see you. Who else? Who else? Let me know. Ralford, Brett, Todd, Michael, Jay, Christina, Brett, Ken, Nana, Gwen, Gustav, Frank. Okay, I see you guys. So when we're on a journey to 6 and 7 figures, and when we really say it out loud, right? 6 figures that's like an easy thing to say, but $100,000 sounds a bit more dramatic. 7 figures, yeah, 7-figure business, yeah, I could do that. $1 million. It sounds a bit more dramatic, and when we allow it to sound dramatic or feel dramatic, it gives us permission to not take action to do the things we need to do to move forward. I remember hearing, and I can't remember who I heard this from, but if you look forward to the goal that you're trying to get to, the business that you want to have, if you look forward to it and it feels really daunting and you don't know how you're going to get there, then you can either stay in exactly the same place where you are right now, just looking at this big daunting goal and not wondering how you're going to get there, or you can look down at your feet and just take the next step, just take one more step. And if you just keep looking down and focusing on the next step, it doesn't feel as daunting. It's like, oh, I just know the next thing to do. Boom, next thing. Okay, well now what's the next thing to do? It's that. Okay, boom. And before you know it, you've got to the big goal, but you've done it by not letting it intimidate you, but just taking one step at a time. And I want to break down some very simple math for you right now that hopefully will open your eyes to realizing how close you all are truly to crushing this in your business. If you want to sell, and you might even want to write this down with me so you can come back to this, okay? If you want to sell a $3,000 offer, that is 3 clients a month to get to over $100,000 a year. $3,000 offer, 3 clients a month. That's not daunting. 3 human beings. I need to find 3 of these human beings to pay me $3,000 every month, and that's $100,000 a year. For most of you, life-changing money. If you want to sell a $5,000 offer, and we get 5 of those clients, that's $25,000 a month, or $300,000 a year. If we want a $10,000 offer and 10 clients, now really understand what 10 clients is. 10 clients is, let's just, for argument's sake, say there's 30 days in the month. I know there's usually more like 28, 29. 30 days in the month, that's 1 client every 3 days. That's doing loads of things for a 24-hour period that come to nothing. And then a whole another 24-hour period of doing stuff for your business that comes to nothing. And then the 3rd day you land a client. Next day, all of your day's activities come to nothing. Another day, all of your day's activities come to nothing. 3rd day, land a client. That's 10 clients a month at a 10K offer. That's $100,000 a month, or $1.2 million a year. With a handful of clients, 10 clients a month. Okay. When you just break down the math for a minute and you just look at it and you go, what on earth am I getting all frazzled about? I have one focus, and it's to hit a certain number of clients every month, and all of my actions in my business need to be pointing to and focusing towards that. Okay? Super, super important. You understand that? All right? So, a couple of bonus tips before we finish this session. First things first, offer payment plans. This is a nice way to help some extra clients get into the program, okay? Help some extra clients get into the program if they can't afford your full pay. So it's not like you're charging $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 and that's it. They can either pay it or they can't. Of course, look, you want this client to come in, it can help them, it's going to stretch them. You can offer payment plans. And what we like to do is what we call PIF, which is pay in full, or we offer a 2-pay option, or we offer a 3-pay option. And to give you an extra bonus tip, we do a 2-pay offer that is usually exactly half of the fee of the coaching. So we don't add any interest on a 2-pay option. So if your offer is $3,000, then it's either $3,000 pay in full, or if they really can't afford that, but they want to get in, then you can halve it down the middle, and it's 2 payments of $1,500, but you can do that over 30 days apart. Yeah. Now we do like to offer 3 pays. We don't do anything more than 3 pays, because otherwise you start getting into a whole bunch of hassle in your business and administrative tasks. But a 3-pay, you do want to have some interest on that. Okay. Now write this down. The interest, about 20%. About 20%. So if your offer is 3,000, then they can do a 2-pay of 1,500 or a 3-pay that amounts to 3,600. So you're adding a 20% increase for the luxury of breaking the payments up into 3. So 3 payments that make up 3,600. Okay. What's that? 1,200 a piece. 3 times 1,200. Is that the correct math? I think so. Another question that I preempted that some of you might ask, and so in the interest of, just trying to cover as much as I can here, there's also this question. Should you offer guarantees? How many of you, Dana, you've said over how long the free pay? 30 days again, right? So pay the first payment, 30 days, next one, 30 days, last one. Yeah. So how many of you have thought about guarantees and whether you should have them, shouldn't have them, should offer them, good, bad? Okay. Yes, got some people in here already speaking my language. Carol, Peter, Lavcash. Okay, good. They're already saying in the chat that they don't offer guarantees. And that is the answer to this question, by the way. When you start charging high ticket, you shouldn't offer money back guarantees. Okay. As soon as you start offering money back guarantees, one of two things happens and they're both bad. Okay. The first is that you get people coming in who are not serious. Okay. You get people coming in who are not serious. They're not the right type of people. They were never really intending on sticking around. They were just coming in to just knock around, have a look at your training, and then jump back out again. And don't forget, this is time with you. This is your valuable time that they're paying for. This is your valuable knowledge that they're paying for. And here someone is coming in and they're just dancing around, just getting as much as they can and then just refund. Second reason that we don't do this, and it's super important as well, check this out. If you offer a refund, hear what I'm saying here, you do your potential client a disservice because it gives them a safety net. It gives them a pillowcase to sleep, a nice pillow to sleep on at night. Yeah, okay, well, I've invested with Dana or Dana. Am I saying that right? Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I've invested it with Dana, and I'll go in, but I can always drop out. So I'll pay her the 5K, and I know that I've got 30 days. Okay, Dana. All right. And I Dana. Dana. Forgive me, Dana. I've paid her the 5K, but I've got 30 days. I can figure this out. And then you know what happens? They don't do anything with your coaching. They don't show up for calls with you. They don't go through your material, right? And then day 29 comes around and they go, look, Dana, I've enjoyed this, thanks for, but it's not, I haven't got the time for this. I haven't got the time. It's not working out. I'll have my money back, right? But what would have happened for that same client had they not had that safety net? Do you think they would have found the time in the 29 days or not? Of course they would have. They would have found the time. So we're actually doing our clients a service by not giving them a safety net, not giving them a plan B and saying, no, look, invest in yourself. I have the answer. I have what you're looking for. I can help you, but I need you to go all in. All right. So we're not a fan of guarantees. All right. For many of you, myself included, we want to build this business in little pockets of comfort. And I'm not just pointing the finger because I did it as well. And if you look back over the past 6, 12, 18 months of your journey of trying to get this thing going, you'll be able to point back to probably pockets of comfort that you fall into as well. And one of the pockets of comfort, I promise I'll stop saying that phrase now, is having your offer ready to go, fully prepared, everything's recorded, you've got your nice fancy videos, you've got the different things planned out, ready to go, and then it's, now I can accept a client. That's the dream. The reality is many of you never get there. The reality is that for many, many months, you just get stuck in this either procrastination or perfectionism, and your offer never actually gets launched, okay? And we have to do something right here, right now in this boot camp to change the trajectory that you're currently on that is going to take you to a dead end. And we've got to flip the switch. And to do that, like I mentioned, we've got to get a little bit more uncomfortable here. So we're going to focus on creating the offer, but in a way that probably you weren't expecting to do. You're probably hoping, oh, I really hope John in this session just tells me all the little things that I should have ready and get created. Nice way to create a membership area. I'm actually not going to teach you that. I want you to get results. I want you to get results very, very quickly. And I know the path that you should take to do that. And it's an uncomfortable one. The reality is we don't need a big offer. okay? We don't need loads of stuff. People don't pay for stuff, they pay for the result, okay? And it's really important that you understand that. They're not paying you. Okay, think about this. If somebody wants to lose weight, right? If you have a big offer that talks about all these different diet plans you've got and all these exercises that they need to do and all this documentation that they've got to go through and all these check-ins that they've got to do and all these messages they need to reply to, but like that's the stuff. They're not paying for the stuff. They don't want more sessions with you. They don't want more time. They don't want more to do. They don't want more training. What they want is the result. That is it. And so that is why we started with the price of your offer first, because the contents of your offer is irrelevant to how much we charge. Now we've got our price. Now we're going to generate some clients for that, and we're going to get them the result, which is what they want. But we're not going to do that by focusing on loads and loads of stuff. So I have a concept called the pop-up offer. So let's say that this is the timeline of, and I'm just going to, there we go, make it better for the recording for you. You know, and this is about as far as my Keynote graphics skills go. All right, it doesn't get better than this. A multicolored timeline is about as far as I go. So on the left is where we are right now, today. And we have nothing, no offer. Maybe you've got a couple of little things, but there's no structure to it. We're right here in the red. And let's say in 6 months' time, what would be amazing to get to is what I call a hands-free high ticket offer. And I'll talk about what a hands-free offer is in just a minute, and I'll expand on it. But ultimately, it's an amazing offer that sells itself, in some ways delivers itself, and is highly scalable, okay? And we're on a journey to go from where we are today to a hands-free high ticket offer. And there's a journey to get there. In the red, this is where we need to take imperfect action. We need to decide that my offer is not perfect. My offer feels a little bit hashed together, but I'm launching because I want to focus on imperfect action. And then we move into the orange. We go and launch in red. We start to land some clients. We start to get some momentum. And then we move into building structure. Now we take what felt like a bit of a higgledy-piggledy offer, but at least got us out there, generating some cash, getting some clients. Now we start to take some of these elements and we start to build some structure to our offer. Then we move from the orange to the yellow. We move from building structure in our offer to starting to really leverage our time. We're taking all these things that we've been putting into place to build structure, and now we've implemented it and we're leveraging our time. I'll talk about what that looks like in just a moment. And then the green is automatic delivery, okay, or automating delivery. There is a limiting belief that many of you might have that if someone pays you $5,000 or $10,000, then you've got to be the one delivering that training. They're paying for you. That is incorrect. That takes you away from the phrase I told you a moment ago, which is they're paying for the result. And if you feel that you need to be the one delivering your training and coaching every single time to every single client, then you're believing that yourself. You're believing that the person getting the result is tied to having access to you. And as long as you believe that, you'll hit a ceiling in your business and it will not be scalable. Okay? So you have to understand that you can start to step back from the delivery of your offer and you can actually start to automate some of these things. And it does not limit the client results. In fact, surprisingly, you can actually amplify client results if you start to step back a little bit and let automation or let other people, right, building a team, step in and help you with certain tasks where you're not as strong that actually benefit the client. So then we get into the green, automating delivery, right? This is this is where we're trying to get to, yeah? And so many people, yourself included and myself included, we try to start here. We skip over the red, we skip over the orange,
and we try and jump straight to this part. Oh, well, but I want to have an offer that leverages my time. So I'm going to build a big old training program that has loads of modules, loads of lessons. So it's all recorded one time and we're all good to go. And then when I sell that, it'll be hands-free. That'll be amazing. And then I'm going to have a group coaching call because that'll be great. And I'm going to have all these resources prepared. So that's all good. And so you're starting to create all of this leverage, which, by the way, are good things. But if that took you 6 months or 12 months to build, what was the opportunity cost? We're all familiar with the phrase opportunity cost. Are we? Type a yes in the chat if you are, or type a no if you're not familiar with opportunity cost. Okay, mostly yeses, a few no's. Opportunity cost is realizing that there is not just one cost involved when we're investing in our business, okay? We can often think about the financial cost, and that's the only one we think of. Right? How much is the coaching? 20,000. Oh my gosh. And you start thinking about that number and you get all, freaking out about it. 20,000. Okay. That's the number. That's the money. That's the first cost. The second cost is your time. Okay. We haven't got to the opportunity cost just yet. That's the third one. The second is your time. Well, how much time is it costing you not investing the $20,000 to find the shortcuts and find a coach who can just take you by the hand and lead you all the way to the promised land? The 20,000 seems like a lot until we start to weigh it up against our time and we realize, oh, but time I can't get back. So actually I'm in that case, I'm kind of spending 20,000 for coaching, but I'm basically buying my time back. That concept's quite an interesting one. People don't talk about buying your time back. Then the third one is the opportunity cost. So the opportunity cost is based on the decision that you've just made or that you plan to make. What have you missed out on because you made that decision? Okay. So the opportunity cost here is, well, I'm going to spend 6 months building a course that goes straight to the yellow. Okay, well, it took you 6 months to build that. So what was the opportunity cost? Well, the opportunity cost was that it's possible to earn $20,000 a month. You wholeheartedly believe you are able to generate that. You feel confident that as soon as you launch your offer, you will be able to earn $20,000 a month. So the reality is now the opportunity cost was $120,000. That was your very real opportunity cost because you decided to skip all of this and take 6 months to build a course that could have been selling all of this time if you sold it back here. If you found a way to sell it within days and not waste months, you would have saved on your opportunity cost. Everyone tracking with me? Making sense? Financial cost, time cost, opportunity cost. When we're making an investment in our business, we have to weigh up all three of those, right? And for many of us, myself included, I get most, what's the word? I weigh my decisions far heavier on the opportunity cost rather than the financial, and in fact, the time is a benefit of the opportunity cost. If I have an opportunity to find someone who just has what I want and knows what I am looking to do and can give me all the shortcuts, well, I can either invest in their coaching and have them just hold me by the hand. And let's say their coaching is even $50,000, right? $50,000, I can write a check to that person and they can just tell me exactly what to do. Will I make $50,000 back quicker with them? Or would it have been better that I saved the $50,000? Well, what if it took me 12 months by myself to get the result that they could have got for me in month one? That's 12 months times whatever the result could have been. The opportunity cost starts to rack up really quickly. So we don't want to do this. And we also don't want to do this. We don't want to skip ahead to automating the delivery as well. This yellow and the green, and I've changed my view on this over the past few years. I used to say to my clients, look, okay, prepare some of it, prepare half the course or, get something prepared. But actually, I'm just realizing more and more how much time that is actually wasting. And on the last slide, you can see it said 6 months, right? So watch over here on the top right-hand corner here.
6 months. What if it is actually 24 months? What if we thought it would take 6 months and it ended up taking 24? Now your opportunity cost is 24 times what you know is possible to earn in a month. Furthermore, how many people could you have impacted in 24 months that now have not been impacted by you? How many lives could you have changed in those 24 months while you've just been building a course, right? So we've got to weigh up the lives that are not being transformed, okay? So like I said, they don't need or want more stuff. They don't need or want more bonuses. They don't need or want more of your time necessarily. They need and want the result, however that comes, all right? So what is a pop-up offer? A pop-up offer is something that you could launch in the next couple of days. It's something that doesn't need any preparation. It's something that doesn't need you to slave over video editing software, trying to create a course and build a membership area and all this craziness. A pop-up offer is something where you could say, all right, if someone was going to give me a client 2 days from now, I would have something to sell them. I could take on that client. That's a pop-up offer. Now we'll get into the specifics of it as we go through this, but that is essentially what a pop-up offer is. Now, if we shoot straight to the end, hands-free, high-ticket offer. If you want to write this down, this is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is that we get to the hands-free, high-ticket offer. And what this looks like, and again, just continue tracking with me where we are in the process right now. We are right up in the green. We're not there now. I'm describing where we want to get to. Hands-free, high-ticket offer. What does it look like? Well, it looks like you having an amazing training vault, right? Full of amazing training that your clients can go through that alleviates the pressure on the need for one-to-one coaching because they just get to go through a bunch of online training, which is super cool. You've got loads of resources, right? Different checklists and study guides and templates and done for you components. You've got loads of resources, you know, more than your client would need. You do group coaching calls. So you no longer do one-to-one coaching calls. It's all group coaching. There's not even a need for one-to-one because they get everything they need from group, right? You could include a one-to-one if you wanted to, but you don't need to. Number 4 is community. Not as much expectation on a client coming in and getting everything they need from you, but now you've got community where they can come in and be surrounded by like-minded people on the same journey, and everyone in that community starts to support each other and help each other out, okay? And finally, the dream is to get to a place where you've got a dedicated client success team. That's where we've got to right now in our company. When we take on private clients that work with us for 3, 6, 12 months, we've actually put a lot of time, money, and resource into a client success team. Not just an admin person who can answer emails, truly building out a world-class coaching team so that it alleviates the pressure from me, but actually we can support our clients even better now because they're getting access to not one John, but now 5, 6, 7 different people who can give their expertise on different areas. And you can start to build this out as well. That's the dream. That's where we're going. But we start with a pop-up offer. We start with a pop-up offer and we move towards the green. And we can make adjustments as we go. And I'm going to tell you exactly how we can do that. First, let's start with an example. I invested in some coaching recently. Like I said, I do this quite a lot, actually. In the last year, we spent over $100,000, me and my team, just on different coaching that we need and different things. If someone's got something I want, I just pay them. And there's this guy called Alex. And there was one specific thing that we wanted in our business, and that was better systems. We wanted, as we scale from $300,000-$400,000 a month, and we scale up to 1 million a month, well, I know that the systems and the infrastructure of the company need to change and improve. And so I found this guy, Alex. He was saying and doing all the right things, making it clear that he knew the problem I had at the level of and size of company that I had and where we were trying to get to, and was saying all the stuff that made me believe, okay, he's got what I need. And so I hop on the phone with him. We have a 60-minute call, And yep, he's saying all the right things. And so I ask him, well, how much is it? You know, he says $25,000. I say, okay. And what do I get for that? And he says, well, here's how it works. And he told me his offer, and he told me what we, how it works and what we're going to do. But he focused on the benefits and what we're going to achieve. So rather than saying, well, okay, here's that's going to happen. You're going to get loads of training. I want you to go through loads of training, and I want you to go. No, instead of that, he said, well, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to work with you for 6 months, and I'm going to help you fix all these problems in your business. It's $25,000, and you just get access to me for 6 months. And I'm going to work with you, and I'm going to help you get the result you need. And I'm going to this, and I'm going to that. It was all focused on just 25,000 for him, right? Now, again, what do I want? I want the end result. I don't want stuff. I want the end result. And he's saying all the right things that make me go, do you know what? I'm just going to trust the process. I'm going to trust the process. I don't really know the ins and outs of Alex's offer. And I could think of a bunch of questions right now as, oh, what am I going to get this? And how long do I get to speak to you for each time? And what's this and what's that? I could ask all those questions, but I just trusted the process because he was so good at his marketing message. And this is where you guys can get up to as well. So I sent him the $25,000. What did I get for the $25,000? Well, I'm going to show you, okay? What I got for $25,000 was this. I'll just do it here, okay? $25,000. We have a one-to-one call weekly. Access to him on an application called Telegram. And the final thing, resources as needed, okay? One-to-one call with him every week. Access to him on Telegram for questions throughout the week. If I have a question for him, I can hit him up. And resources that, by the way, weren't prepared or created yet. He just said, look, if there's anything that I've got or that you need, I'll either send it to you or I'll put something together for you. So off the back of a one-to-one call, if there's something I need, if there's a question I have, if there's a resource that he could put together, then he can just whip it up for me. All right. So what was his initial outlay taking me on as a client? Nothing. I didn't receive any login details. I didn't get access to any training. I didn't get access to a Facebook group full of other clients. Did I care? No, because he had the result that I wanted. That's what I was paying for, and I was trusting the process, but his deliverables are very, very simple, okay? So now let's move on to how you can have a pop-up offer, because hopefully you can see how simple a pop-up offer could actually be. A pop-up offer could look like something like this, basically what I just described. So you can either screenshot this or write it down. You could have an 8 to 12 week program. And I want you to actually write this down. And there is a reason, by the way, there is a oh, you can't see the screen. Sorry. 1 second. There we go. Okay, so you can start here. You can have an 8 to 12 week program, and there is a reason why it needs to be 8 to 12 weeks. Unless there is a really, really good, legitimate reason why your training or coaching or your offer needs to be longer than that, then you shouldn't do it. And I'll tell you why. There is something called Parkinson's law. And if you haven't heard of this, put this down in your notes. Parkinson's law dictates that the longer a time period you give someone to perform a task, the least likely they are to actually do it and do it well. So if I gave you 7 days to perform a task, I could give you 2 months to do the exact same task. And if I gave you the 7 days, you'd find a way to get it done in 7 days. If I give you the 2 months, you'll find a way to drag out the task for 2 months and probably do it less efficiently than the 7 days. That's Parkinson's law. So we have to build this in to our offers. We want to make sure that our offers are coming from a place of service, right? And coming from a place of service is not just the contents of your offer and what you actually do. It's already in the price because you're doing your clients a service by charging a higher ticket. And secondly, now you're doing them a service by actually cutting their time in the program, giving them an allotted time period. If you let someone come into a program and they just get access to you forever, right, then you're doing them a disservice and you're giving yourself a huge headache. Okay. So we have to give them a certain period of time. All right. So 8 to 12 weeks, we find works quite well. 2 to 3 months. You could maybe go to 4 months. But if you start going to 6, 12, it's starting to get a little bit too long. Okay. Still with me? Let me see some of those thumbs. There we go. All right, you're still with me. Parkinson's law, 8 to 12 weeks. Second is do what Alex did for me. A weekly one-to-one call. Not 2 a week, not 3 a week, not 5 a week, not 10 a week. One-to-one call a week with every client that comes in. Third thing, access to you for questions. That might be Telegram, that might be text message. Email might be more your thing. You'd have to find a way to make email sound sexy again, but email could be your thing, right? Or Voxer, something like that. And then the fourth is just a loose promise for resources as and when they need them, if you have them. So it might be that you're on a one-to-one call with a client and they say, oh, I really would love an SOP for this, or I'm wondering if there's a checklist for this. And you can just say, you know what, I'll tell you what, as soon as I get off, I'll quickly whip you something together. And you spend the 30 minutes to just create them a checklist real quick. All right. That is a pop-up offer. You can get that created in 1 day. You can just quickly plan out what that pop-up offer can look like. Now, before you freak out and you think, well, John, I don't want to do one-to-one coaching. Long-term, that's not what I want to do. Then you've missed the point. We're not doing this long-term. We're doing this to get off the ground. We're doing this to get into the red and launch and move as quickly as possible to the orange, yellow, and green. The ultimate place we're getting to is the hands-free high-ticket offer. We're only going to do a pop-up offer like this that is really, let's be honest, built around the one-to-one coaching calls. We're only doing that until we get some momentum. We start to get some clients in the door. We start to collect some cash, and we do that very quickly in a matter of days and weeks, not months and years. And then we can start to move to building structure and leveraging time. There's also another great benefit of doing this, and I actually want you to write this down, okay? So please, please, please put this in your notes. This is very helpful. When you create a course, before having spoke to clients, you're creating what you think they need, not what they actually need. Whereas if you do this and launch a pop-up offer to start, you can start to collect some cash quickly, get some momentum in your business, and you'll actually end up having some really good one-to-one conversations with your clients. And you can take notes on all of those conversations and the things that are coming up, the things that they're saying that they need, the things that are, repetitive. There's repetitive things that a new client asks you, and you can go, I'm going to make a note of that, because that's going to be the perfect thing to record a training video on, because that comes up every time. So I can start to move out of the red and start to think, how could I build structure here? Well, maybe I could record some lessons that get that repetitive stuff out of the way, right? Is this making sense? Are you seeing the journey that we would start to go on? Okay. So what do we need to have this ready to sell? Well, you guys, I'm afraid, this is where I said we're going to get a little bit uncomfortable. If you really go all in on this, you have no reason why you couldn't start selling your pop-up offer tomorrow. Because what you need to have ready to actually sell this is I guess, setting up a Zoom account so that when they become a client, you can register them for a Zoom call, their first weekly one with you. Second is download something like Telegram and learn how to use the application and learn how to connect with a contact and start a text thread, all right? And thirdly, perhaps set up a Google Drive or a WeTransfer account ready to send them documents or resources as and when they need, or if you've got them. That's all you'd need to actually get going with this. That's the pop-up offer. Things that do not matter is a name for the program. We actually don't even need a name, believe it or not. I don't even know if Alex has a name. I paid him $25,000. I don't even know if his program for 25K even has a name. I don't even care. Why do I care what the name is? I want what he's going to teach me. So we don't need a logo. We don't need a membership area. Because of the process in which these people are going on to book a call with us, we're going to be selling them on the phone in a very nice human-to-human environment. So there's nothing visual for them to see, and there's no need for a name. Okay? Now here's where it gets fun. I want you to track with me. Don't lose track here. Stay with me, because this is where we start to go on a journey. So we launch over here. We take imperfect action and we launch our pop-up offer. The next step is the orange. We want to start creating some structure. So what was these 4 things in red? That was our pop-up offer. Now have a look at the things that start to change to orange. Okay? The weekly one-to-one call. I started to allude to this already, but we can start to get some really, really helpful insight into our clients, their needs, their wants, their desires, and what would actually make a really good training vault moving forward. So we start to learn from the weekly call. All of these resources that we're creating for clients, now we can stop tailoring it to a one-to-one client, and we can now actually create a resource that you could give to any client that needed that particular thing. So now you're starting to build an archive of resources. Now we move into the yellow, leveraging your time. This is where it starts to get really fun. Check this out. You see what's red and orange now? Everything changes to yellow and something has been added. So check this out. We're still an 8 to 12 week program, but now we've pivoted from a one-to-one call per week with a client, and we can move to a weekly group call. So you have your one client every week. Now, every time you've still got to fulfill on the people that you promised weekly to, right? So those early clients, you've still got to fulfill for them. But now anyone new that comes in, you can start to offer a weekly group call. And there's only going to be a handful of people on the line, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it still feels very small, very intimate. Clients have no trouble with this. They have no problem with this. Now we're going from access to you directly for questions, and now we're moving to access to a community for questions. You could now you've got enough of your clients, you can introduce it like an unannounced bonus, that now you're going to create a Facebook group where they can all connect with each other and learn from each other and ask each other questions. So now you're moving away from one-to-one support and now introducing community. You've also now got an archive of awesome resources that you've been building over time. And finally, a new thing's been introduced here, which is start to create your course content. This is going to be your training vault. You've been talking with some clients, having some one-to-one calls, learning what their needs are, learning what the repetitive things are. Now you really start to record that content and create a series of training videos that would be really helpful for new clients coming in. Okay? And then finally, the ultimate goal is the hands-free high-ticket offer. So let's see how this changes again. All right? You got these 5 things all in yellow. Well, of course, they all change to green now, and there's one more thing that's been added. Okay? You still got an 8 to 12 week program, but now it's still a weekly group call. But if you wanted to, someone else could be running that call. Or maybe you get to a place where you still do one weekly call with your clients and you do a second weekly call every single week, and another member of your team helps your clients with a slightly different area that they might need help with. You now have a thriving community that support each other. Clients that
when a question is posted in the Facebook group or something, before you can even get to it, another client has jumped in and supported another one of your clients. They're helping each other out. The ultimate leverage of time. Now you've got a training vault, so you don't need as much one-to-one because all the training is readily available to them when they first come in, and then they can jump on the weekly call to discuss it. You've got all your accompanying resources, and now you could even start hiring coaches and a client success team to actually oversee your program, oversee the deliverables with a real focus on making sure your clients are winning. Does this get anyone else excited, or is it just me? Is this where you guys want to get to? You want to move to this? Type hands-free in the chat. Type hands-free in the chat if you're like, this is it. Okay, I want to move to that. Okay. So there's a journey to it. We have to move to it in this order. All right, so we start here, pop-up high-ticket offer. Some of you might say, oh, well, John, but I've started creating my course and I'm feeling close and I'm this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? I don't care if you're 70% of the way there to creating your course. That 30%, what if that keeps you stuck for another 2, 3, 4 months? What is the opportunity cost of remaining stuck for another 2, 3, 4 months trying to finish the extra 30% of your course? You may as well launch today, right now, and then you can continue building it in the background while you have some clients. Okay? Now, I want to tell you a quick story. My first successful course was one called Traffic Mastery. And that one really did take off. The one before that, the first ever course I tried to create was about affiliate marketing. I was trying to teach what I was doing with affiliate marketing. And I remember I would just spend months and months and months. In fact, I would say wasted months and months and months because I was doing what I've just told you now not to do. I was recording all the course content. I was trying to figure out the tech mumbo jumbo to make it happen. I couldn't find certain software that I need to do certain tasks. Then I'd procrastinate. Then I would redo certain lessons. I mean, I don't know about you. I struggle to read. If I read a book, and let's say I got 5 pages in, some of you are laughing at that. 5 pages. Let's say I got 5 pages in, and then I put that book down, and then I go away for a week, and I come back to that book. I feel the need to go back over those 5 pages again because I forgot what I read in those 5 pages. So I think, okay, I'm really going to get back into this book. Oh, but first I better go over what I already read. So I reread the 5 pages. Maybe I get up to page 7 this time. And then I step away again and I come back in a few days and I start all over again because, I can't carry on from page 7 because I already forgot what I read in the beginning of the book. So I just keep getting stuck in this cycle. And we can do the same thing with a course. We can start creating our course content, start putting it all together. And then you step away for a week and you come back and you think, oh, actually, no, I could do it better. Oh no, there's this new software that can do these things better. So then you're switching software platform. And before you know it, you're just stuck in this hamster wheel of creation and building. And nothing's getting done. And that was the same for me. And then I was creating all of my own logos. If any of you are not graphic designers, then you should not be creating your own logos. That is the ultimate example of you not counting the opportunity cost and truly, truly, truly wasting time. When I was first getting started, there was a platform called GIMP. Anyone heard of GIMP? I'm just curious. Anyone heard of GIMP? Just type a yes in the chat. Yeah, okay. One person, Greg. All right. I'm not even sure if it's still around. It was a free version of Photoshop, basically. And I remember going in there and learning how to put logos together and do these little effects to words. And I look back now and I feel like an idiot. I spent days and days and days creating a freaking logo. What was I playing at? Totally not counting the opportunity cost of launching. And I'm thinking that I'm making a good decision. Oh, but I'm saving money. I'm saving money by designing my own logo and not paying a designer. What? Paying them the $50 to buy back your time. Think about this, guys. If someone could design you a logo for $50 and it will cost you 4 days in time, hear what I'm saying right now. This is so important. It will cost you 4 days to design your own logo and rethink it and procrastinate and put 4 days.
If you could pay someone $50 to create you that logo, you can buy your time back, 4 days worth of your time, you can buy it back for $50. Now, when you hear it like that, some of you, it's like a shiver down your spine. You're like, oh, I've made so many mistakes. Imagine that. Imagine like all the mistakes we feel we've made, all the wasted days. Imagine someone had a little magic wand and they said, yep, give me $50 and I'll wave this over your head and you just magically get 4 days back. We would all spend that $50, but we're not counting that cost in reverse, right? So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm passionate about not designing your own logos. It's such a waste of time. Pay someone else to create logos, even if you need one. I didn't. I spent days and days and days designing a logo. And then the worst part of all, when I finally launched my course, I launched it and nobody wanted it. No one was buying it. So I'd spent months, I think even a year at that point, getting my course ready. And I was thinking, I'm going to be a millionaire. My course is ready to sell. And then nobody bought it, crickets. And I just felt like an idiot. I just wasted a year building something that I had no proof of concept that someone actually wanted. Okay, so don't make the mistake that I made. Get started now. Okay, I want to ask you guys a question. Okay, imagine I said to you right now, I fanned out $3,000. No, $5,000. I fanned out $5,000 in front of you right now, and I waved it at the camera, and I said, I challenge you to create your pop-up offer and get it ready so that you would comfortably accept a client tomorrow. In the next 24 hours, you've got 24 hours to take what I just taught you here today and get to a place where you're ready to accept a client tomorrow. And I was waving $5,000 at you, and I give you that $5,000 as soon as you say, yep, I've done my homework, I'm ready to accept a client tomorrow. How many of you feel you could do that? Type a yes in the chat. Yeah, Todd says, no biggie, done. Got it, got it, got it. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's the reality of what you're missing out on every single day that you don't launch. Every single day. Because that $5,000 is a client that is waiting to give you some cash. Let that sink in for a minute. There are clients out there online right now that are ready and waiting to hop on a phone call with you and enroll in your coaching. They just don't know about you yet because you're not out there. They can't give you money yet because you don't have your system out there ready for them to get on a call with you. So what I want you to imagine is every single day when you wake up, imagine a client is at your front door waving $5,000 at you for your coaching, and you say, sorry, I'm not ready yet. And imagine it every single morning, and you will start to feel the urgency. You'll start to count the cost of delay. You'll start to count the cost of, oh, what if I wait and build my course and get everything ready and this, that, and the other. And every single day there's a client you're turning away. 5,000 becomes 10,000, becomes 15,000, becomes 20,000 because you are delaying. You getting my point? Getting my point? Guys, we got to get you out there. There are people that need what you have. Let's launch and let's figure things out as we go. Okay. I also want to say this. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Think about this, okay? Some of you are there going, John, I get it, but I'm still nervous. Still nervous at the idea of launching something and it's reliant on a one-to-one call, and what would those resources even be? And, you know, I get it, right? We're getting nervous, but what's the worst that could happen? I'll tell you, the absolute worst thing that can happen is a client comes in, they pay you some cash, it all feels a bit clunky, it's not really working, they're not really happy with the service they're getting, and so you refund them. I obviously said that we don't do refunds, and I don't suggest you do them, but I'm saying worst case, you're like, you know what, yeah, I'm to blame. It was a bit clunky. I'll just give you money back. That was money you never would have had anyway because you didn't launch. So the absolute worst thing that can happen is no worse than you remaining where you are right now and not progressing and moving forward. Okay? So I think I've hammered that home. We got to get moving forward. On top of that, you got to think about, yes, so 3,000 for Janice. All right. On top of that, you've got to think about, and this is where, you know, we're drifting off my plans here, but I do want to say this because I think it's important. On top of that, there is a level of accountability that I want you guys to put on yourself for the lives that you could potentially be changing, that every day that goes by that you don't launch, that's another person that you're turning away at your front door and not taking their cash, but also you're turning them away from getting help from you. Now that client might be going somewhere else and getting help from someone else that was not nearly as good as what they could have got from you. They might go somewhere else and spend their cash with someone else, your competition, and not get the result. And you're thinking they could have got the result with me because my stuff's good. I know I could have helped. I think about stories like Janice. I hope I'm okay to share this, but Janice is one of our coaches. She's amazing. You're going to hear from her in just a minute. But she was telling me about one of our clients that she was in communication with. Her name's Jo, and she was diagnosed with cancer, which meant that she just got started with our training, and she was diagnosed with cancer, which meant she wasn't able to work her regular day job. So she wasn't earning from her regular day job because she had a brick and mortar business. So she can't work, she doesn't get paid. She was the business owner. Just at that moment, she joined our coaching. Then she was diagnosed, couldn't work. And over the last few months, she's been receiving treatment. The good news is she's doing well, but she's earned 20,000. Is that right, Janice? Give me a head nod. Was it 25? 20, I think it was. 20,000 pounds she earned from our training while she was not able to work, while she was diagnosed with a terrible disease. And I hear that story and I think, imagine if I didn't launch. Imagine if I didn't put my coaching out there. Imagine if I didn't run my YouTube ad that day. Imagine if I didn't have my sales funnel turned on that day. Like all of these things, that was one person who we had a huge impact on that I might not have had the luxury of having an impact on, right? There's many stories like that. Anyway, I don't want to spend too long on that, but I do think it's important that because we don't see it in the here and now, but there are people waiting to be impacted by what you've got and the knowledge that's in your head. And every day that we delay, there's a knock-on effect, there's a ripple effect for you and for your potential clients. All right. So I'm going to give you permission to do one little thing, which is if you're really, really freaking out about the idea of a pop-up offer, then you could do a little bit of prep, just a little bit. So this little box has moved from down here and we've moved up here. We're still in the red, but we're just going to start creating a couple of things to make you feel comfortable to launch. Rather than launching and literally the only thing they're getting is a one-to-one, you could prepare a handful of videos ahead of time. Now, you're not building a membership area. You're not building a big old course. You might just want to create a couple of videos that you can upload to a video hosting software and mark them as private. And these are some initial trainings that you give to your clients. Maybe you prepare a couple of resources that you're convinced every client that comes in would need. Perhaps you spend a few days and just prepare a bit of a plan for what the first few one-to-one calls could be with your clients. But do not spend more than 1 week on this. If you're going to prepare a handful of resources, do not spend more than a week, okay? Because every day there's an opportunity cost that you're missing.
Hey, good job. You got to the end of the video, so hopefully you enjoyed this content. And listen, if you're serious about this, if you really want to implement this and skip the queue, get some shortcuts and get some hand-holding in implementing every single step, my team might be able to help. Check out this video right here. It talks a little bit about what we do, who we are, and how we can help you. And there's an opportunity to book a call with my team to get some tailored help. So check that out. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in a future one.